Hey, what is up guys? MKBHD here, and welcome to your first look at the Samsung Galaxy S10e. We don't know what the E stands for yet, so I'm just gonna go with economy. So there is a video up already at the same exact time on the new Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus, the flagships of the lineup, so the link's here to watch it, or it'll be the first link below. But this S10e is a new addition to the lineup, coming in at a bit of a lower price, kind of just like what Apple did in September with their iPhones. Some people thought Apple was getting a little loose, releasing a third phone alongside the other two that may get a little confusing. But then again, Samsung already makes like 10,000 phones, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised by this duplication of strategy. So if the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus are perfect matches alongside the iPhone XS and XS Max, which they kind of are, then this Galaxy S10e is a perfect parallel to the iPhone XR. And that's starting with the price. It is $750, just like the XR, which is definitely, again, not budget by any means, but it is lower than the other flagship phones it's launching with. So with that, where are you saving your money? Well, the form factor of the S10e is super similar to the regular S10, as you can see, but it cuts some corners, literally, to save price. And that starts with the display, which is a bit smaller now. It's a 5.8-inch AMOLED display, and it's flat now instead of curved. So basically the Infinity display on the higher end phones sort of melts gloriously over the sides. The S10e has a flat screen, meaning it goes mostly edge to edge, but it's a little less dramatic. Matter of fact, it's similar to the iPhone XR in that the bezels all the way around are just a little bit thicker, just a slightly taller chin, slightly cut in side bezels. It's not problematic at all. In fact, I think most people would hardly notice, but it's just people like me who are pixel peeping that are gonna see that. But it's still an over 90% screen to body ratio. And also, just so I don't forget to say it, the display on this S10e, while it is slightly lesser than the two higher end brothers, it's still way better than the display Apple put in the iPhone XR. This was an LCD, this was a much lower resolution. The display on the S10e is still a 500 plus pixel per inch AMOLED display. So it's got the same characteristics, the same hole punch, but it's just slightly lesser than the older brothers. Anyway, another one of the big new features of the S10 was, of course, the ultrasonic fingerprint reader underneath the display glass. That's pretty high-end, expensive tech. S10e doesn't have that. Instead, it actually uses a traditional fingerprint reader, and it's in the power button on the right-hand side. This is probably the best backup location to put it in. I usually prefer on the back of phones just because that's where my finger naturally rests. But the power button is also great because you're often pressing that button anyway, and your finger usually rests there too. So then the last major trade-off of the Galaxy S10e is, just like the iPhone XR, removing one of the cameras. So the bigger brother has an extra camera. The Galaxy S10 just got triple cameras, which means the Galaxy S10e now has dual cameras. So it shares the same high-end dual aperture primary camera, and it also keeps the ultra wide, so it doesn't have the telephoto camera anymore, which I think is great because most people rarely intentionally use the telephoto camera anyway. And then on paper with the specs, they even did what Apple did with the SoC and the RAM. iPhone XR had the same chip, but a little bit less RAM. So here comes Galaxy S10e. It has also the same Snapdragon 855 like its brothers, but it starts with 6 gigs of RAM instead of 8. But again, you can upgrade to get a version with more RAM and more storage if you want to spend a little bit more. But also, to be honest, most people buying phones like this probably won't notice the difference between 6 and 8 gigs of RAM anyway. That's more about future-proofing and overhead, and to be fair, we'll see how these phones perform down the line after the reviews. This phone also has IP68 certification. This phone also has expandable storage, just not missing those things. But also note, because the phone's a little bit smaller, the battery is also a bit smaller, so it's a 3,100 milliamp hour battery in the S10e, which is still bigger than the battery of last year's Galaxy S9. So overall, Galaxy S10e appears to be a pretty great phone that costs just a bit less than Samsung's other new phones. The sacrifices come in the three main areas of display, fingerprint, and cameras, but they're still pretty good at all those areas. So similar to the iPhone XR first impression, it feels like this is gonna be the phone of the new ones that most people should get to save that $150. But you can let me know what you think. Would you spend the extra money on the super fancy display and the fingerprint reader and the extra camera, or would you save that money? Let me know. Either way, stay tuned for the full review of this phone. Thanks for watching the first impressions and hands-on. Feel free to share it with others who may be interested. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.